Hi, welcome to Guitar and Record, a show about adventurous guitar players and some of their great recordings. This week I have the amazing Steve Tibbets, and this record's called Exploded View. And Steve is an incredible guitar player, and I'm starting with this record. There's a couple other records that are around this time that are pretty amazing. He is an acoustic guitar player and an electric player as well. And he is partnered with Mark Anderson through most of these records, and they're a duo is kind of the core of the band, Steve and Mark. And it's augmented on this record by bass and some percussion and quite a bit of singing that is really cool. And so Steve, it's like, I think he uses, he's a Les Paul player, and at this time at least, and it's like through a Marshall, and there's just like explosions of feedback and just totally uncontrollable but super musical, and really, really, really unique. And this is another ECM record that came out in '86, and I don't think I've ever heard up until this time, much like the Krakatoa record that I talked about earlier in an earlier episode. This kind of marrying of percussion, like pretty visceral guitar playing as far as like sound is like fuzzed out guitar or distorted guitar. And like on this one specifically, a lot of amazing percussion and really cool singing. It's not singing in the sense of songs, but more just really neat. I don't know where it comes from. I guess I'm at a loss for words for the singing part, but really neat. And then and it starts out with Name Everything is the first composition that is like feedback, and then there's some chanting. So it's very percussive and New World sounding, I guess, like New World music or world music sounding. And but with no distinct, like, yeah, I don't necessarily hear like Cuban influence or Latin American influence. It's kind of an amalgamation of all of that. And a real standout for vocals and the guitar is Clear Day and No Memories. That starts out really beautiful. The whole piece is beautiful, but the singing's really neat. And Steve is playing acoustic guitar. He uses a lot of altered tunings. And then it's almost like it's definitely a layered record, meaning like there'll be acoustic guitar, and then over the top it there'll be these kind of cool feedback explosions, and he does a lot of pull-off type stuff, so it's not necessarily it's not like he's actually doing tons of licks or anything. It's just kind of like for texture. It's really a great compositional tool. So the guitar playing, weirdly, as I've listened to this more and more, it's the acoustic guitar is kind of the core, and then he paints with the electric guitar. He kind of adds color with the electric guitar. Not on all records, but specifically this record. And Metal Summer is another great piece. And if you're into kind of a modern take on kind of alter tuning acoustic guitar players like John Fahey and I wouldn't say Ralph Towner, but that kind of really unique playing with unique compositions. This is an incredible record to start with, and he's gone on to do quite a few records since, and I might talk about a few of the others. There's a couple that I also almost hold in high regard as this one. But if you want to hear some great acoustic guitar player merged with some percussion, and I don't think there's a lot of records out there like this that I can think of, and it's always been a huge hit with me and in rotation throughout the years, always revisiting it. And just really a great listen. And I think if you play guitar and you're looking for things that might be inspirational, that would take you somewhere else, that's kind of what this is all about. All of these reviews, I it's just hearing something that you may or may not have heard before that will send you in a different direction, and at the very least, as a listener, take you to a different place. Because all great music or art is transformative. I mean, it takes you to, or transportive, it maybe is a better word, is to take you to another place or another whatever. I was going to say dimension. That seems really ridiculous. But you know what I mean. So please check this out, Steve Tibbets, or check out any of his records. But this is a great place to start. It's where I started. And I, to this day, find it one of my cornerstone records that if someone were to ask me, like, what's a great adventurous record for guitar, this would be one of them. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully this is interesting content. You know, I'm gonna develop this over time and talk about my experiences of seeing people in person, like live. I never got to see Steve Tibbets. He doesn't tour a lot, and he definitely doesn't. When I discovered him, it was probably the mid-90s, so this record was already 10 years old. So I know he toured a little bit around that time, but I unfortunately never saw him. So what we have is this record and stuff on YouTube, and this is also available on YouTube. And hey, you might even like it enough to actually buy a copy of it, which I'm sure everybody else would prefer as well. Anyway, thanks again. Talk to you soon.